If AOC got to write history books and they said, why did people sneak into America? Oh, climate change.
Climate change is different because we have an expiration date.
20 years from now. Climate change was so bad that people were walking from Guatemala to get plane tickets to fly to Michigan.
We've got 12 years to turn it around.
Yeah.
12 years.
For real? Are you sure? Are you sure that happened? Maybe there's other variables? What do you think?
My concern is that we are going to be the frog in the pot of boiling water.
Hey guys, maybe some of the stops along the way, they only speak Chinese and they have Chinese signs. There's like a concerted effort to get people in from China. Hey, something going on? No, just climate change.
We are going to debate and debate and debate and debate. And then when we actually finally pass something, it is a wimpy carbon tax and our kids are doomed.
Oh, so simple. So nice to be able to just...
Bill Maher and Joe Rogan have basically teamed up to dismantle AOC, and honestly it's equal parts brutal and hilarious. If you remember, a wave of commentators recently caught AOC stretching the truth about her upbringing and background. Once that narrative started falling apart, it didn't take long for it to reach Maher and Rogan. And from that moment on, they haven't let up. The takedowns have been relentless, sharp, and wildly entertaining. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button because this one gets good fast.
Hear what AOC said?
He wanted to pick a fight with me, below me. He's gonna lose that.
It's amazing.
Maybe don't send our country into war because you're in some type of mood.
It is straight out of South Park.
Gosh.
It's straight out of South Park.
Congress was supposed to have a classified briefing today, and they canceled it last minute.
Like what?
Yeah, I know.
It's giving scrambling. It's giving disorganized. It's giving they are having problems behind the scenes.
Do you know something I don't know?
Please understand that this is Trump's war. This is a Republican war. Don't let them...
Like, what do you...
What's especially funny is how Joe Rogan doesn't even pretend to take AOC seriously anymore. That shift didn't happen overnight, but it's obvious now. There was a time when Rogan viewed her as the bright new face of the Democratic Party. He praised her speaking ability, her confidence, and what he called her courage for entering Congress at such a young age. Back then, he genuinely seemed impressed by her rise and the image she presented.
Video of when she found out she won.
It's amazing. Play it.
I'm gonna grab her. She's right here. I can't let you go.
It's like one of the realest moments. And look, people are angry. 28-year-olds, what the f does she know? What she doesn't know, she'll learn. Maybe she knows a lot. I like the fact she wasn't supposed to win. I like the fact that the guy who was an incumbent was a 10-term incumbent.
Yeah.
And that he spent 10-1 versus on her. How much money she spent? 10-1.
And grassroots got her elected, man. And that can happen.
Dude, she's a kid.
Yeah,
and she's pretty. She's a pretty young 20.
Yes, that was the same Joe Rogan. Fully sold on the idea that AOC represented something fresh and promising. And to be fair, he wasn't alone. A lot of people were intrigued by her story. But once the cracks started showing, once the carefully managed image began to unravel, Rogan's tone changed quickly. Admiration turned into skepticism. Praise turned into mockery. He no longer sees a fearless reformer. He sees someone playing a role. A politician fluent in buzzwords and sound bites, but unable to stand up to real scrutiny. And now Rogan isn't pulling punches. Whether on his podcast or elsewhere, his critiques are sharper, more direct, and far more entertaining.
If AOC got to write history books and they said, why did people sneak into America? Oh, climate change.
Climate change is different because we have an expiration date.
20 years from now. Climate change was so bad that people were walking from Guatemala to get plane tickets to fly to Michigan.
We've got 12 years to turn it around. 12 years.
For real? Are you sure? Are you sure that happened? Maybe there's other variables? What do you think?
My concern is that we are going to be the frog in the pot of boiling water.
Hey guys, maybe some of the stops along the way, they only speak Chinese and they have Chinese signs. There's like a concerted effort to get people in from China. Hey, something going on? No, just climate change.
We are going to debate and debate and debate and debate. And then when we actually finally pass something, it is a wimpy carbon tax and our kids are doomed.
Oh, so simple. So nice to be able to just...
If you've seen the compilation clips floating around, none of this is surprising. AOC has a habit of making bold, illogical claims and delivering them with absolute confidence. Take her infamous line about solving climate change in 12 years, as if global systems follow congressional timelines. Or her insistence that mass migration is primarily driven by climate change rather than economic collapse, corruption, or violent regimes. Early on, you could excuse some of this as inexperience, young, new, idealistic. But 5 years into Congress, still repeating the same oversimplified talking points, it stops being idealism. It starts looking like ignorance. Instead of learning, she doubles down, hoping emotion and theatrics can replace facts. They can't.
My favorite interviews was when AOC was talking to that lady and she asked her to expand.
About Israel-Palestine?
Oh my God.
You use the term the occupation of Palestine. What did you mean by that?
I think what I meant is like the settlements that are increasing in some of these areas and places where Palestinians are experiencing difficulty in access to their housing and homes.
She just collapsed into herself?
It's literally like a fifth grader that didn't study.
Yes.
And then they ask you about the subject, or you didn't read the book. And then, it's about Billy and his dog and a really good relationship, these dogs.
But the crazy
Do
thing...
you think you can expand on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd also I am not the expert on geopolitics on this issue, you know.
If you watch the full interview, you'll notice something else. AOC opens by confidently declaring herself an expert. Strong words. But the moment she's pressed with real questions, the confidence evaporates. That pattern is hard to ignore. Take her out of an echo chamber where she's railing against Donald Trump, and put her in a setting that demands substance, and she folds. Every time. She thrives on applause, not debate. When challenged, she deflects. The talking points collapse, and the expertise she claimed turns into vague generalities. That's why Bill Maher also jumped into this conversation. He sees the same thing. Performance politics masquerading as leadership.
Robotic tripods could be vaporizing New Jersey. Democrats would point out how the death lasers were disproportionately affecting low-income communities and people of color. And AOC would tweet, "Stop demonizing the Martian X community."
Maher summed it up with brutal honesty. At this point, Democrats could be defending literal Martians and they'd still call it compassion. And while that sounds exaggerated, the comparison isn't far off. The consequences of unchecked illegal immigration are real. Fentanyl flooding communities. Human trafficking increasing. Law enforcement overwhelmed. Families paying the price. Yet Democrats rush to defend the chaos, and AOC is often front and center, spinning narratives while people deal with reality. Maher joked that aliens could land in Los Angeles and Democrats would still be arguing on CNN about coexistence. It's funny because it rings true. Solutions have taken a backseat to ideology. And that mindset shows up again in the next example, where AOC completely misunderstood the so-called Big Beautiful Bill and got corrected by Mike Lawler.
Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez caught that interview, or at least saw it online, and she wrote, "It's not normal. Lawler voted to make the tax breaks on billionaires permanent while making the no tax on tips, just for those making less than $25K, expire in just 3 years. He's also kicking tipped employees off Medicaid, ACA, that's Obamacare, and clawing back their SNAP." So is she wrong about this bill?
Yes, she's entirely wrong. Look, the standard deduction, for instance, which was doubled under the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, is made permanent. This is a huge tax cut for middle class and lower income families all across this country. Obviously, within this bill, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, a senior deduction, a child tax credit expansion. This is targeted towards the middle class and working class and lower income Americans all across this country.
This is where the pattern becomes undeniable. She doesn't slow down to research or understand the basics before going public. With the Big Beautiful Bill, which aimed to ease middle-class tax burdens, AOC went straight to misinformation. She claimed people making under $25,000 were being taxed while the wealthy were getting massive breaks. That wasn't true. Then there's the repeated misrepresentation of her upbringing, branding herself as a Bronx girl despite records showing she grew up largely in Yorktown, Westchester. Or the viral story about cashing her grandmother's Social Security checks, which turned out to be pure fiction. 5 years in Congress and she's still pushing narratives instead of facts. Supporters say she draws big crowds. Maher has a response to that too.
What about the big crowds that come out to you when you're talking in a festival or wherever they are? I think it's because I think Bernie showed up at Coachella. That must have been fun for the fans. It's who shows up on election day. And I just don't see that's the ticket. I mean, Cory Booker, I know you've worked with him. I like Cory a lot from my home state of New Jersey. Made a speech for 25 hours. Again, just whacking each other off. This is just not what's going to get the job done.
Maher's point is simple. Crowd size doesn't equal competence. Kamala Harris drew massive crowds. She had celebrities, media praise, and a campaign war chest of over $1.5 billion. And what happened? A complete electoral disaster. All the optics in the world couldn't compensate for weak leadership and a lack of substance. Maher argues that the Democratic Party keeps mistaking hype for effectiveness. Instead of learning from failure, the DNC acts like nothing went wrong. They double down on identity, branding, and vibes while ignoring results. If that mindset continues, 2028 is shaping up to be a repeat performance.
Holy shit. He said what?
Did you witness the president commit a crime? Is it your testimony today?
Yes.
And what crime have you witnessed?
How much time do I have to go through it?
It is simple. You name the crime. Did you watch him steal something?
Corruption statutes, RICO, and conspiracy.
What is it? What is the crime, sir?
You asked me to answer the question. I answered the question.
No.
RICO, you're obviously not familiar with. Corruption
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir.
It's a category of crimes that you're then charged.
You have charges.
A long 100.
You have charges. Please
name the exact statute under RICO.
Yes.
Oh, well, it's funny. In this committee room, there's over 18
all right, sir. I reclaim my
lawyers
time.
that went to law school.
I reclaim my time.
You guys
okay, thank you.
Then there was the hearing moment that was almost painful to watch. AOC tried to corner Tony Bobulinski by asking whether he personally witnessed Joe Biden commit a crime. Bobulinski didn't hesitate. He said yes. When she pressed for specifics, he cited corruption and RICO violations. That's where things fell apart. AOC appeared genuinely confused, as if corruption and racketeering aren't actual federal crimes. She walked straight into a trap of her own making. Instead of discrediting a witness, she exposed her own lack of legal understanding on live television. Not exactly the brilliance her supporters like to advertise.
Recommendation of the many that you recommended family separation.
I recommended zero tolerance.
Which includes family separation.
The same as it is with every U.S. citizen parent gets arrested with a child.
Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their...
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father from his family.
Mr. Holman, with all due respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
When you're into the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum, you go through the port of entry, do it the legal way.
At this point, AOC looks far too manufactured to be taken seriously as a presidential contender. She's too ideologically extreme for the average voter, not equipped to handle global complexity, and far more interested in viral moments than measured leadership. That doesn't mean she's beyond growth. She's still young. With humility, discipline, and a willingness to actually learn instead of lecture, she could mature into something more serious. But right now, talk of the presidency is laughable. Not because of her age, but because she refuses to evolve. She prioritizes performance over policy, volume over substance. If she truly wants to lead, it's time to stop posturing and start learning. And with that, we'll wrap things up. If you enjoyed the video, hit like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.